stories on BBC News.
Live from Washington, this is BBC News. In the next half hour, Donald Trump is expected to speak here at his Florida estate of Mar-a-Lago. It is the first time we'll hear from him since he pleaded not guilty to 34 felony criminal charges in a New York courtroom.
President Trump, will you please come take some questions? How did you plead, President Trump? How did you plead?
Hello, I'm Sumi Somaskanda. It has been an historic day here in the U.S. We're going to take you live now to Mar-a-Lago in Florida, where we are expecting to hear from Donald Trump shortly after he pleaded not guilty to 34 criminal charges at a court hearing in New York. He's accused of falsifying records to conceal crimes. We understand that the people who've entered the room already, among those who are in the room, are members of Trump's family, including Don Jr. and Tiffany Trump. Also, high-ranking members of Congress, Congressman Matt Gaetz and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, we understand, are also on hand, big supporters of the former president. So we're watching closely to see when that speech will begin. We're expecting it to start at about 15 minutes past the hour. We're going to go live to that speech when it begins. Let's take you first, though, through what has happened today. This was New York this morning. Donald Trump left Trump Tower, traveled downtown, and turned himself in at a courthouse in Lower Manhattan. He waved to crowds, but he did not make any comment. There were no video cameras allowed inside the courtroom during his appearance, but we do have these still photos here. It was here that Donald Trump pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of falsifying business records. This was around an hour later. He left the courthouse. From there, he boarded a private plane bound for Florida. Several hours later, just before 7 p.m. local time, the former U.S. president touched down. You can see he was greeted here by supporters as he drove to his home in Mar-a-Lago, which brings us to now, because the New York judge did not impose a gag order. The former U.S. president is allowed to speak about his case, and tonight we expect him to do just that. And those, again, are those live pictures from Mar-a-Lago that we are waiting for that speech to begin there. We're going to discuss all of this with our many guests, the many complex angles of the story. Joining me here in the studio to discuss what's happened and what's to come, we have Caddy Kay, our special U.S. correspondent, of course. And we also have Brian Lanza, who was formerly the communications director on Donald Trump's transition team. Welcome to you both here in the studio. We're also joined live by Stephanie Rawlings Blake, former mayor of Baltimore, David Kelly, former U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, and the BBC's Michelle Fleury, who is in New York, and Barbara Platt-Usher, who is in Mar-a-Lago. It looks like, I don't know if we see Barbara just yet. We're going to try to connect with Barbara first because she is there at Mar-a-Lago awaiting that speech. Let's see if we have Barbara on the line. Okay. We don't have Barbara at the moment. We're going to speak, first of all, to our guest here in the studio, Caddy. Just first of all, we've been looking at those pictures of Mar-a-Lago. What do you think we can expect after the incredible process, remarkable process we saw today?
You never quite know what Donald Trump is going to come out and say when he decides to speak on these occasions. His lawyers will want him to not say anything that might jeopardize his case. But they have made it pretty clear that they don't think that there is a valid case against the former president. They think that this is a politically motivated case by a Democratic